So me and a friend of mine traveled 3,000 miles from Washington State to North Carolina to attend the Great Eastern FMTV Roundup, a spin-off event that I created coming up on 5 years ago called the Great Western FMTV Roundup, now called the Great Western Overlander Roundup. You know how you can tell you're not on the West Coast? No, these prices are not 1990s prices. They are current. Oh, and here's another sign.
Man, this is pretty. I really like that. Nice welded on there. Then reattached. Some good stuff.
Leave it to Mike and I to find an old relic, explore it, and maybe even try to start it without anybody's permission. Speaking of relics, I'm just kidding. We found Patrick Foley Sr. at the event, and yes, he is 6'3", so we did not have to squat down any to get Patrick in the photo.
All right, and this is his awesome rig. John, do you have a name for this rig?
I just call it the Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant. I think that's a very appropriate name. Let's check this out, guys.
Waving.
John is a patriot, I can tell. But who is that in there?
What? Meep, meep.
He's had a little bit to drink, fellas. Sorry about that. Really nice looking truck. I saw it when I came in. I'm like, okay, I have to meet this fella. The Iron Giant. Sweet. It purrs like a kitten. It just sounds beautiful.
What a terrific young couple. Later, Mike and I would get to know them very well as a little bit more of the Iron Giant, as it kind of had a little bit of oopsie. So who do I call when I need an expert on air systems with an FMTV? If you said Ron Marlette, you would be correct. Good morning, Ron. We have a 5-ton truck FMTV that is blasting air out the front glad hands, the emergency glad hand full-time, and the service glad hand when the brakes are applied. Could you describe what valve or part is not functioning? By the way, this is in North Carolina and we would appreciate your assistance. Thank you.
10 seconds later.
I lifted the brake pedal with my foot and it built air pressure. It is still trying to push air out the front glad hands when the brakes are applied. We are now working on the 4 valves behind the front bumper.
Uh-oh. What a mess.
All right, check this out, fellas. Look at that. That seal is toast. So what kind of crackpot thing that you're suggesting here, Mike?
Dimes.
Dimes.
I don't know if this is going to work, but
Could
we'll
that?
see.
It could possibly get you home, right?
I tried 20 cents and it wasn't enough, so we're going to have to go for the 30-cent fix.
Crazy.
Retro Reggie? The rubber valve diaphragm is toast. We're trying to fix it with 3 dimes.
I don't understand how it's supposed to work, but I don't have to.
So Ron writes back, well, air all the time out the emergency glad hand would probably be the check valve right down below that emergency glad hand that allows it to fill the tank from the towing vehicle. Losing air from the service glad hand when you step on the pedal will be one of the two lower two-way check valves under the driver's floor. Top valve is parked and the lower two tie in the front glad hand into the primary and secondary brake systems so the towing vehicle can control them. You can bypass them in about 2 minutes by moving their output center port hose up to the floor output from the treadle valve. I show how to do this in my front glad hand delete video. Well, thank God for that. Good luck, he writes. The two-way bypass only takes a wrench to loosen the hose fittings. No permanent modification is required as the hoses are long enough to reach the floor bypass ports as is. Quick, easy, and completely reversible if they want front service glad hands back in the future once they fix the leaking two-ways.
346 minutes later.
So this is our victory video. Thank you, Ron Marlette, for making sure this all happened. We were able to bypass, what is Mike doing? We were able to bypass the glad hands and bypass those valves. Worked like a champ, Ron. Thank you very much. John is on his way. Very, very cool. So glad that we were able to help him and get this thing fixed. It's been a really cool event, and this kind of helped us out. Lots of fun.
This whole thing got me thinking, man, should I actually just get rid of those, do the delete in Malachi, or should I just maybe get some of those spares? I know they're not very expensive, so I could just leave it as is. I think if this thing ever needed to be towed, I would need a glad hand. That's something for me to consider in the future. One thing to add to Ron's video, the middle of that two-way check valve, it is a smaller hose. But if you remove that little elbow and put it up into where the floorboard goes, the pass-through, you can actually convert that 1/2 inch to a 3/8 line. So it took us a little while, I don't know why, to figure that out, but we did figure it out and we got John back on the road. Can I get an amen for getting John back on the road? Thank you. Well, that's all for me. I'm Dave Anderson signing out. You guys be safe out there, and God bless.